The Samsung Galaxy S21 is here, and if you're expecting a big update to Samsung's iconic flagship series, let me just temper your expectations right now, because this isn't that. I mean, you got the big update from the S10 to the S20 last year, so the S21 with, the way phones are being released each year is more like an opportunity for refinement, for Samsung to fix what they got wrong with the S20. And that means that this new phone comes with a couple of new things, a couple of things that stayed the same, and one very weird choice. This year, Samsung retains the three-model approach with the launch of the Galaxy S21, the Galaxy S21 Plus, and the Galaxy S21 Ultra. The small one is 6.2 inches, the Plus is 6.7 inches, and the Ultra is 6.8 inches. But there is one notable difference to the three smartphones, and it's one that I'm not a fan of. The new S21 features a polycarbonate back that's almost identical to the one that we saw on the Galaxy Note 20. Yes, one of these high-end Samsung flagships has a plastic back, even after so many of us criticized the move on the Note 20. And Samsung will probably tell you, like they told me, that the S21's plastic back feels the same as glass, but all you need to do is pick it up alongside like an S21 Plus or an S21 Ultra to immediately notice the difference. Maybe this won't matter to you because you use your phone with a case all the time, but for me, just knowing the fact that Samsung skimped on the build quality of their premium Galaxy S flagship smartphone series, that leaves like a sour taste in my mouth. Okay, anyway, with this mini rant over, let me get started with what's new. Right off the bat, you'll notice that these new phones have a tweaked design. Many complained about the massive camera bumps on the S20 series, so Samsung is addressing that by, extending the metal frame on the side of the smartphone to meet the camera bump. This is supposed to make the module feel more flush and at one with the body, which it kind of does, but I don't know if it really, addresses the issue of the sheer size of the bump, because the camera module is still very noticeable and very massive. I will say though that I did like the design a lot more in person than when I first saw it in photos. Much like how the iPhone 12's induction cooker design looks better in person because you can see some of the finer details in the way that everything was put together, you can also appreciate the intricate industrial flourishes Samsung has made with this camera module. I am dismayed that there is a tiny seam where the module and frame meet, breaking, that seamless feel, but beyond that, I do like the design. It's iconic to say the least, and that's increasingly rare these days with everyone drawing inspiration from everyone else when it comes to design. Build quality is also still top-notch here. The satin-like frosted glass back is accented by the glossy frame in a way that just feels good in the hand. The devices are well put together and designed to be comfortable in the hand, and it really shows, especially when you pick up the massive S21 Ultra. Of course, when I say that the phones feel good, I'm only talking about the S21 Plus and the S21 Ultra, because the plastic S21... Also new with the S21 series are their internals. At the time of filming this video, I don't have the confirmed memory configurations for Malaysia just yet, but I have been informed that we will be getting the Exynos variants in Malaysia, so there will be no Snapdragon 888 processor for us. I am a little concerned with the performance of the device in the long run after, last year's disappointing Exynos 990, but the new chip does look pretty good on paper, so I'll reserve judgment until I've had the chance at a full review. I can, however, confirm with you that the new Galaxy S21 Ultra screen addresses one of the bigger limitations on the S20 Ultra. Now, the 6.8-inch Dynamic AMOLED 2X display can do 120Hz at Quad HD, so you won't have to choose between fast refresh rate and high resolution. You can have them both. The new S21 Ultra's adaptive refresh rate also has a range from 11Hz to 120Hz, so you can intelligently switch the rate to put, less load on the battery. However, on the S21 and S21 Plus, you're now only getting a full HD Dynamic AMOLED 2X display instead. It still does 120Hz, but no matter the refresh rate, the resolution is capped at Full HD+. On the plus side, the new S21 Plus gets a bigger 4800 mAh battery, which is really nice. That is a solid bump over its predecessor, but the other two remains at 4000 mAh for the S21 and 5000 mAh for the S21 Ultra. What's not nice though, let me just show you. This is the retail box for the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra, and if it looks familiar, that's because it is. And that means that when you open this, all you get is the phone, a USB-C to C cable, a SIM eject tool, and user manual. There is no charger, no charge adapter, no power adapter, or whatever it is that you want to call it, included in the box. For the most part, the S21 series retains a lot of the premium features that we liked on the S20. It still has IP68 dust and water resistance, it still has pretty solid stereo speakers, and it still comes with Samsung's suite of ecosystem features like Knox Security and Samsung Pay. Samsung also says that they've increased the size of the in-display fingerprint scanner by 1.7 times. But I didn't really notice a difference. You still have to put your finger on pretty much exactly the same spot or it won't work. Now, the Galaxy S line of smartphones often debut Samsung's new camera technology, but this year the S21 series doesn't really introduce anything radically different. In fact, it's very similar to its predecessor and the camera system on the Note 20 Ultra. The S21 and S21 Plus have 12-megapixel wide and ultra-wide angle cameras. The wide cameras on both phones have dual-pixel autofocusing as well as OIS. Both also feature 64-megapixel telephoto cameras. Naturally, the S21 Ultra has the most capable camera system of the trio. There is a 108-megapixel wide camera, a 12-megapixel ultra-wide camera, and two 10-megapixel telephoto cameras, one with 3 times optical zoom and one with 10 times optical zoom. Despite the new telephoto camera setup though, max zoom, or space zoom as Samsung calls it, is still capped at 100 times. But Samsung has made improvements to the stability of the shot at max zoom. And I have to say that it does seem more stable. I can actually hold it still at 100 times, which is pretty impressive. The biggest thorn in people's sides will probably be the 108-megapixel camera. Many weren't a fan of it on the S20 Ultra because, focusing was slow due to the lack of dual-pixel autofocusing. On the S21 Ultra, that remains unchanged. But in an attempt to, help it along, Samsung has added laser autofocusing system that is, very similar to what we saw on the Note 20 Ultra, but how effective that is remains to be seen. They have updated the software, however, so all cameras can now shoot 4K video and have access to Super Steady at 60 frames per second instead. Naturally, 8K video recording also makes a return. Now, I won't comment on camera performance just yet because, I haven't had enough time to really use them and find out if it's really any good or not. But I will say this, I hope that for Samsung's sake, the S21's camera, especially, that main 108-megapixel camera, is better than the S20 Ultra's camera, because otherwise there will be a lot of angry people. Now though, it's time to talk about the single weirdest decision that Samsung made with the S21 Ultra. For some reason, the S21 Ultra now supports S Pen input. Yes, the S Pen. The thing that makes the Galaxy Note line so iconic. The thing that makes the Note smartphone such a unique device is now also on the Galaxy S21 Ultra. Only it's also not really? Let me explain. With the S21 Ultra, Samsung is adding a new accessory they're calling the S Pen. It comes with a case and it gives you access to some S Pen features so that you can use it to write on the S21 Ultra's display. Notice how I said some, because the S Pen that works with the S21 Ultra is very different from the S Pen that you're probably thinking of from the Note 20 Ultra. First of all, it doesn't go into the phone. It's a separate accessory that has its own case with a tiny slot at the side that can, you can stick the S Pen in. The case looks really ugly in my opinion, but that's besides the point. Next, there is no clicky top that you can use to fiddle with when you're thinking or taking notes. But the most egregious thing of all is that the new S Pen doesn't have Bluetooth connectivity, so it can't do a lot of the new features that makes, the current S Pen what it is today. There are no air gestures, you can't use it as a Bluetooth remote, you can't do stuff like control your camera or any of those like cool things that you could do with the Note 20 Ultra. It feels like an S Pen from several generations ago, and that to me makes it feel more, like an afterthought than a well-implemented system. They didn't even tweak the ergonomics to, make the S Pen maybe be a little bit thicker so that it's more comfortable to use. No, it's still a really thin, skinny stick, only it's a bit longer now. If you ask me, they shouldn't even have called it an S Pen. It should have just called it a stylus because that's basically what it is, something to write on the S21 Ultra on. Like, it doesn't have like those signature things that help the S Pen be more than just a stylus. But yeah, that's pretty much the Galaxy S21 series. There are a couple of new things, a couple of things that stayed the same, and one really perplexing inclusion. Does that make it a bad phone? No, I don't think so. For the most part, a lot of the tweaks and fixes make sense, and it being a refinement on one of the best phones of last year is nothing to scoff at either. But at the same time, I don't think it's going to change anyone's mind. I don't think it's going to be the phone that converts people to Samsung, for example. Because if the S20 didn't convince you, the S21 probably won't either. Alright, that's it for my first impressions of the brand new Samsung Galaxy S21 series. Make sure you stay tuned to our YouTube channel because we're going to be dropping more content and also our website, more content on the S21 series as a whole. You do not want to miss that, so make sure you're subscribed, have that notification bell icon turned on. Also, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think of the S21 series as a whole? Will it be your next smartphone? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And if you have any more questions for the S21 that you want to ask us, you can head on over to our Instagram page where we'll have a questions box that you can fill in, and then we'll collect the questions and then we will answer them on Instagram. Okay, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Rory and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.